We have got some people. Let us wait for some more people to join us today. And I think we'll wait for 2 more minutes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. I think we are right on time. Okay. For those who have joined us, please be a little patient. We are waiting for more participants to join in a while. Once we have few more people who have committed that they'll be joining, we will start this session. We have a really great session and some really good insights lined up for you guys. So just give us like 2 more minutes and then we'll start the session for you guys. Thank you. I think we will start now and more people will join in. Yeah. Okay, great. A very good day to all of you all who have joined us today. My name is Parikshit. I head the revenue management department at eZee Technosis and I will be your host today. With us today is Anna Suchitaha, who is Head of Hotel Contracting and Connectivity at Rakuten, to speak about the new buzzword that has come into market, revenge tourism. Hi Anna, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here.
Great, great. How are you doing?
Great. From sunny Singapore, yes.
Okay, how are things in Singapore? I hear you guys are still having some sort of lockdowns in there.
Yeah, there's quite some restrictions still, but yeah, there's been some ease in restrictions for travel. They announced last week. So
Great,
hopeful,
great.
yeah, hopeful for good changes coming up. Yeah.
I think then today's topic is something that you and I both can connect, and we'll have a lot of insights to share about. So today we will be speaking of, like I mentioned, the new buzzword that has come in our lives since last year, the revenge tourism. So before we actually touch the topic, let me just put up some statistics for our panel, our listeners today, actually. So currently, tourism industry is contributing to around 10% of global GDP. And despite of COVID, we touched around 3,486.77 billion USD in the year 2020, and it is only expected to go to 4,132.5 billion USD in this year. And we are hopeful that in 2025, we will be touching somewhere around 5,297.78 billion USD. Now, these are the numbers that are coming from Business Wire and other sources, but I am sure that these numbers will come true with the sort of travel that has resumed over last year. Now, for me, I can very much relate to this whole revenge tourism thing, because I remember I was actually on a vacation somewhere last year in the month of March, and then we decided to return home, following a curfew, 1 day curfew that was imposed. And after that, there was a lockdown on 23rd of March, followed by another lockdown, followed by another lockdown. So the whole thing made me stay at home for almost 6 months. And first thing that I did when the borders were opened up is to go to one place, very close to my heart. I traveled again, right? So it was not because I had not taken a vacation in a long time. I was actually practically at home on a vacation, but I was so bored. I was so bogged up being in the same corridor because restrictions, right? So that urge to release that tension, to get away from your same environment, I took a vacation, and that is the whole trend that has been continuing since last year. So we'd like to touch some points on what revenge tourism is, okay, and how hotels can, now that markets are opening up, start prepping for it. So Anna, as per you, or what do you think when you hear this term revenge tourism?
Yeah, I mean, I can really relate to it because, of course, I also love travel, and not being able to travel for over a year is quite stressful, I think. And I think this word revenge tourism, like revenge is quite a strong word, but I think it just represents like a lot of how people are just very, very eager to travel, right? And myself being in Asia, I think I feel like the motivation behind this revenge tourism, I think it's actually even stronger in Asia because obviously, there's still like ongoing lockdowns, and it's quite strict travel restrictions still in place in many of the countries.
Okay.
So, right. So I can definitely like see a strong travel demand building up already. So, I mean, for example, like in Japan, where of course one of our main markets, which has also like on and off restrictions, and when we see, so when there's a restriction, of course the travel, the bookings go down. But when there's an ease of restriction, then we instantly see, demand going up. So it's kind of like been that repetition, but it just also shows like, people are just so ready to book and just waiting for that moment to, when they actually see the possibility, they're booking, right? So we're also seeing some overseas destinations from Japan, where we were seeing, very little bookings, of course, but now with some restriction easing for some markets, we're also starting to see bookings picking up. So yeah, I think it's a really good time to just prepare to capture this demand, like wherever or whoever is able to travel. So yeah, I think it's it is quite exciting to just even imagine the burst of this revenge tourism. Yeah, hopeful.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And those who have joined us a little later, Anna here is going to give us some insights on Rakuten Travel Exchange. She has been into the industry for over a decade. So I think whatever inputs that she gives us today will be really helpful. So Anna, with this, I'll be giving the control to you. Let me know whenever you want me to move to next slide.
Okay.
Okay. So
Perfect.
over to you, Anna.
Okay. Yeah. So hi everyone again. And before I just kind of jump into this slide, I think maybe some of you may know Rakuten, or maybe just know us for Rakuten Travel or OTA. So I first wanted to hopefully share a bit about us. So our Rakuten Group is we're a tech company that's headquartered in Japan. And we are running about over 70 businesses worldwide, so including our OTA, but as well as online shopping, fintech, advertising, mobile business is one of our largest investments we're doing right now. So yeah, we're basically very diverse in the businesses we run, and our strength is really having this digital ecosystem made up of 1.5 billion users worldwide. So us, Rakuten Travel Xchange, is probably a very new name to most people because it's actually a new division that we launched only in May last year as the hotel distribution slash connectivity division of the group. So what we're basically doing is we're basically the tech arm of our travel vertical, and our goal is to accelerate our travel business, so penetrating to more markets as well as increasing our distribution capabilities. So today I want to share about what Rakuten does, what are some of the distribution opportunities we have, and how we're preparing for revenge tourism. But I just also want to touch in general upon how different types of distributions can help hotels maximize their revenue. So yeah, I'll go into this slide. So our basically B2C travel brand is called Rakuten Travel. It is one of Japan's largest OTA. We've been around for quite some time, over 20 years now. And on our website, basically users can book hotels in Japan and overseas destinations. So Rakuten, I mentioned we have 1.5 billion users globally, but in Japan, we have 100 million users, which is actually, more than majority of the population. And so basically our advantage is the number of users we can reach. But not only that, I think what makes us quite unique is the stickiness of the customers, as there's high cross usage from customers. So what I mean is, for example, a user can shop for shoes on Rakuten, they can book a hotel on Rakuten or use a Rakuten credit card, offline, and they can basically earn points, which they use to consume for services such as booking hotels. So this ecosystem is what's been creating a strong loyalty from our customers. So during this COVID times, obviously some of the things we've been doing is providing the best experience for what we can do right now, domestic travel, and continue to engage with their customers. But as I mentioned, Rakuten Travel Xchange kind of came into the picture to also expand our business. So what we're now focused is also expanding our global destinations, meaning we were actually only focused on certain overseas destinations pre-COVID, but now we're preparing to open up to all global destinations so that we can have hotels from different markets join us, and meaning we can actually offer a wide selection of places for guests to go. And obviously, in order to realize that, we require enhancing more connectivity options for hotels. So, of course, as part of that initiative, we are working with eZee and looking to expand our hotel supply. So, just in terms of these kind of B2C travel brands, I'm sure many of the hotels already work with maybe some of the major OTAs or local OTAs, but maybe some of you are considering as part of your distribution strategy, increasing partnerships with more B2C players. So I think just some of the things to think about when you select your players is, first of all, who is the audience you want to reach? So I'm sure there's a set of guests you're able to reach right now, but where is it that you want to fill the gap? So of course, in our case, it's like Japanese users, and knowing our guest behaviors based on marketing data is what makes us strong in this market. But I think there are many like local OTAs or strong B2C services, and they obviously know their customers well and can reach them directly. So I think it will help get access to the customers you need. And obviously, another thing to think is, what kind of properties is this player selling? Are they more focused on hotels or vacation rentals? Is their system able to accommodate these different kind of properties? So I think these are some of the things to think when you choose your partner. So that's the B2C side. If you can go to the next slide, please.
Sure. Just a quick question. When you were saying that you are expanding in global markets, which are the markets that you're looking at right now for Rakuten?
Well, I mean, I would like to say it's really all. Because we are actually open to all markets. And I mean, of course, there's these top destinations Japanese people travel to, which it could be Hawaii, Guam, or Asia. But then there's a lot of other destinations that we actually are seeing demand. So of course, Europe is one. I think Middle East, and even US. We are only in certain destinations right now, but we see quite some demand, even for like Mexico. So, and also we see some for India. So actually, I mean, I feel like the list goes on here. And yeah. So I would just love to say all. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, with that, let's move on to the next slide.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I mentioned, our OT has been around for quite some time, but when we last year, when we launched Rakuten Travel Xchange as this kind of tech division, we also decided to tap into the B2B distribution space. So we might ask like why, and why now during the pandemic? Who starts a new travel, right? But for us, when we thought about where Rakuten wants to be in the long term, I think we saw that we can provide more value to our hotel partners by being able to reach different audiences, and not just our Japanese customers. And when we thought about wholesale, I mean, I think it will continue to play a very important role in the distribution space. And it will continue to be necessary, like it will exist post-COVID. So, where we already have B2C, we saw B2B not really as a conflicting channel, but we saw it more as a coexisting opportunity for us to be able to provide these different options to our hotels. So that's why we decided to start. So yeah, you can see in this also graph, quite in a short period of time. So maybe a little bit over a year, we've signed partnerships with over 500 clients worldwide. And we are currently expanding our teams as well. So we expect the numbers to grow even more towards the end of the year. And these partners are not necessarily in Japan. So different from our OTA for this division or this side of the business, we're looking to grow global. So yeah, some of the stronger markets we have, of course, Asia being our strong kind of market, but we have quite some strength in US. South America is one that's actually that we're quite strengthening, and some markets in Europe. So our clients, as you can see in this list here, they vary from online travel agents or wholesalers, local travel agents, and some that are not even just focused on just hotels. So it could be airlines, like mobile apps. And they're all basically connected by API, or we have our own travel agent portal for those offline agents. So yeah, here I just want to kind of mention, why wholesalers are necessary. So I think in short, like still both supply and demand is very fragmented, right, in this industry. And I think if you're trying to supply everything on your own, I think it's pretty much impossible. So I mean, even if you think about like the large players in the market, like even the top travel companies, at least to my knowledge, even they are buying from some other companies to supplement for their supply. So I think any company that's actually selling hotels, they are relying on wholesalers to at least some extent to get the best rates in the market, or to reach markets where they're not able to by themselves. So this is why I think wholesalers will continue to kind of exist as this intermediary where people go to. And another thing to mention is that when distributions become more dynamic, there's just so many ways to connect with hotel inventory. So even if it's direct, right, you have to be connected to different channel managers, switches, and the same goes for connectivity methods with like third-party suppliers. They're using all these different methods. So it requires a lot of resource and time if you want to, supply everything on your own. So yeah, so you're rather connecting to aggregators who hold large inventory base, I think, it's just more efficient for many of these players out there. So that's why even, we're late comers in this market, but we already we see quite strong like demand from different clients who want to connect with our inventory. So yeah, I think the point I want to make is that working for hotels, working with wholesalers will allow you to kind of like cast the net wide so that you can capture demand from different audiences. And yeah, I mean, right now I think there's never a time that's so much uncertain, right? For in times of where you're going to see demand return. So I think it's a good idea to just be prepared and
Yeah, right now we are in a phase where we are welcoming all sorts of demand from anywhere, right? I have personally seen people who are shying away from entering online market are doing like 70% of the business online, right? You have to, in certain states, in certain provinces, you still have to show your itinerary before you even book your tickets, right? So yes, I'm seeing that sort of paradigm shift in terms of demand. People are accepting anything that comes from anywhere because it's so uncertain, like you mentioned.
Yes.
Okay. Another quick question I wanted to ask. So when you mentioned you have so many B2B distributors and other partners, so these guys are based globally.
Yes.
Which also means that Rakuten as an organization does not just have Japanese as their customers, but through these partners, you are also expanded or having customers in different countries across the globe, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that means that somebody sitting in India might also be, using your service, and then he or she is not even aware, right, that the travel agent is buying inventory from you,
Yes,
right?
correct.
So
Yes.
it's such a global economy that we are creating right now.
Yes, I agree. Yes. But I think
Great.
there's so much opportunity and space to grow. Yeah. Which is
Okay,
why I've entered the space.
right. Okay. Whenever you're ready, we'll move to the next one.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Great.
Okay, yeah, this is my last slide. And though the title is Why Partner with Rakuten Travel Exchange, I think in general, it just goes for any partner that you're going to work with. So these are just kind of the three, the, I guess, keywords I want to highlight, which you should look into when selecting a partner in general. So first point, being financially stable. Of course, the pandemic has showed how important it is to be financially reliable, and it is those which remain in the game, are those that are financially stable. But I don't want to mean to say that it's not just about having cash, but it's also that I think these types of companies are the ones who have the mindset to be able to have like a long-term view on how to grow the business and really align with hotel needs, and rather just focusing on, okay, how can we create sales in just the short term and just the cash flow in the short term. So I think these are type of the companies that will continue to lead in the industry. um,
Okay.
of course, for Rakuten, because we are not just really in travel, we have diverse businesses. So it allows us to continue to invest in, services and initiatives where necessary that can benefit the hotels in the long term. So this is the first point I wanted to make. Second point being a global footprint. It goes back to my, I guess, earlier point of, who do you want to reach, like which audience do you want to reach through these partners. So it's whether it's having a very global reach or could be a specific market. I think you want to think about, does it align with your distribution strategy? For Rakuten, it's I guess we're a bit unique in the sense that we have a very strong local presence in Japan, and then but we also have a strong brand globally, not just from travel, because we have these different B2C services. So yeah, I mean, for us, it's like now we're trying to go to that further global reach.
Right.
Yeah. And then just the third point is, so I wrote here trustworthy, because I think in the end, it's about being able to have this sustainable and trust relationship. And I think it comes down to like, okay, is this partner transparent on how they distribute? Or, for example, do they honor your distribution rules? And this might especially come up in maybe B2B, where there's obviously more layers involved. So it's not always, very clear. But in the end, if it's not a win-win situation, the partnership won't last anyways. And I think even though things are moving more into like dynamic or more like tech driven, still, right, signing a deal or getting a connectivity in place or spending time on like providing information to the partner, it requires so much time and resource. So you don't really want to waste it on a partnership that's not, sustainable. And this, I think, also ties sometimes with and is impacted by the technical capabilities the partner has. So, where distribution is becoming more dynamic, you do need to work with partners who can technically support it. So yeah, I mean, we are a tech company, so we've been always thinking about how we can be innovative in the industry, even if we're latecomers. So yeah, we're hoping to make some changes here. So yeah, I mean, these are just some of the things I thought to mention, maybe just to keep in mind when assessing on new partnerships. Might not be something super new, but I think it's something to think about. Yeah, especially post-COVID.
Yes. Right now we are in times where we would, rather work with somebody whom we can trust. That's really important.
Yeah.
Now, for all our viewers who have joined, there's a quick poll that we are running. we'd like to know from you that what is the situation where you are based in whichever market, if your province, your city, your country is opening or opened up for the guest, is it still not opened up for the guest? So we just like to know, or are you guys still in lockdown phase? What is happening? Okay, we'll keep it open for a minute to get some quick snapshot from people. Okay. Okay. So right now I'm seeing around 65% people are saying that the world is open or the city is open to the guest. Okay, that's really a good number. Very hopeful number in today's time.
Yeah.
I feel, right? So, Anna, if you could, in the meantime, quickly tell me the statistics, okay, at your end, that what are the numbers that you've seen in the post-COVID era in terms of all the inventory you have globally? Because right now I'm seeing that around 71% people are saying that their cities have opened up. So what is the situation at your end?
I think at least where I am in Singapore, right? It's not very open, right? So
No, so I was talking of the global market that Rakuten posts, the inventory that you have across the globe. Okay, what percentage of it is opened up right now?
well, I would still say that majority of the bookings we are seeing is still very domestic. So of course we have US, Europe, Asia, we see bookings in each of these markets, but maybe 90% or could be more domestic. But I think we are starting to see shifts in the share of domestic versus like international. So for example, like in the case of US, there's more travel now from US to Mexico or to the Caribbean. So I think once the borders open and they're accepting certain markets, then we instantly see like a kind of spike in the bookings. So we see a change once I think it's the vaccination, of course, ratio, and then the government policy. And in some cases, it depends on what kind of vaccination the country accepts. But I think these combinations, they continue to kind of change the market share of these the bookings. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anna, for your insights. If you guys have any questions, you could just put it in Q&A, and towards the end, we will address all your questions. Moving on to the next deck. Okay, so let me quickly, give some more insights in terms of what are the recovery trends, right? Because we definitely saw some recovery happening in India specifically. I think after September last year, we saw people started moving around, and the trend is always continuing. Okay, and we have seen that we recorded this. Obviously, there's a drop by 55% compared to 2019, but that was bound to happen due to COVID. And 64% of the hoteliers are expecting their revenue up by 50% in 2021 compared to last year, which is another sign of positivity, considering the fact that so many hoteliers have literally shut the shop, right? And they are really happy in terms of 58% rather are happy, or their expectancy had gone so low. They were expecting what, 15% turnaround, 20% turnaround, but compared to last year they are expecting 50% more guests, which I think is a sign that people are going to continue to travel. It is going to look or it is right now still, we can call it a silver line to the cloud, But I think if this trend continues it is still going to take a couple of years, but we are going to move out of this whole lockdown situation across the globe very soon, and we're going to see more people traveling again like they were traveling in pre-COVID era, but with new norms. So what are these norms that are continuing? Okay, what are the trends that we expect to see? So like you mentioned, like US still remains top travel destination. We also looked into certain travel destination, and US, New Zealand, Switzerland, France, and even Spain, where travel has opened up, people are continuing to travel. And obviously there is domestic tourism that is flourishing. And I think one thing that pandemic has taught us is to travel domestically. uh, and with that, we'll move to the next slide. Okay, so what we have seen, okay, last year when pandemic came, and then there were measures announced, right, that you should wash everything, you should sanitize everything, there should be contactless delivery that has come across for food aggregators and so many other places where we are trying to get contactless, right? Now when it comes to eZee, we as organization developed this contactless check-in system. Okay, technology we delivered somewhere last year in July. Okay, and a lot of hoteliers gave a good response to it. They were so happy to see that, because until last year there was no vaccination in place. It is very recently come and people are getting vaccinated. So so many countries are welcoming guests which are fully vaccinated by those vaccines approved by UN, which is I think a welcome step. And as an end user, people are, for me, I'd rather go to a hotel which says that I'm fully vaccinated staff, right? Because it gives me that sense of relief, that sense of safety, rather than going to a place which does not give me any such guarantee. So that is also something that we've seen continuing. And with pandemic, people are also looking into vacation rentals. Earlier it was only hotels, motels, resorts. Now people are looking into secluded place, a private area for themselves, because they don't want to come in contact with a lot of people. So vacation rentals are moving up. Okay, and along with that, something that was not happening quite often earlier, that has started happening now, is pricing. So, and I even you see this on your back end also, that people used to uh, have their pricing done once in a year for like mid-season, off-season, and season. Only three pricing, right? That was like most of the globe. Right now, we have seen that shift of dynamic pricing, and it is approaching fast. And from all the technologies that we're talking, I think this is something that we should be looking into, because earlier, like I mentioned, that we used to do occupancy-based pricing. I've been practicing revenue for 10 years, and it was very simple. Decide what are your off season, decide what are your peak dates, and decide what are your lean dates, and that's the end of it. Now there's so much you need to consider with this whole pandemic, and because distribution is becoming, how do I put it, more complex than earlier, like you mentioned. So we are also looking into demand. We are looking into what time of the day it is, what year, what month of the year it is, what day of the week it is, and what are the other festivals or season coming to consider our pricing, right? So we are looking into all these factors when we are pricing ourselves. Sorry. Now, what has happened with revenge tourism is that you don't know which weekend people are going to travel. So earlier, that whole concept of keeping one price was valid. Now you have to be ready at any given point in time. Like all of a sudden, there's a holiday announced. We know a long weekend is coming. People are going to travel. So we cannot, and every long weekend is very different from other, right? Let's say there's a demand happening in UK for one festival. the very next long weekend is going to be completely different. So people have to be on their toes. And when we have been actually having something called eZee management in our tool, in our channel manager for a very long time. But with COVID, we saw that opportunity to actually make a full feature software out of it, that you could price yourself as, very, very dynamically. You could have a different price for every booking if you want. And we saw that opportunity and we launched that tool to help all the hoteliers, because now you cannot have one price. Okay, one price does not fit all, even within your B2B segment. Because you have that leverage, you could actually offer different price for different dates. And with Mint, we are making it so easy. You set up your pricing, and then you just monitor and you can make changes as and when you want. The system is going to make changes of the price as per the factors that I mentioned. It is going to see your occupancy apart from all the other factors, and it is going to make changes to your pricing. And with that, you get, you have the whole, you have the control, right? You do not have to think that, okay, now I do not have a staff in the night. How do I ensure that I get optimum or best price for my room? Right? Because at the end of the day, we want to have our hoteliers take maximum advantage of their rooms with, people, because it is still, like you mentioned, very uncertain kind of a phase, right? So we want them to get best price. And I think dynamic pricing, which is going to control 24/7, is something that we should be looking forward to. What do you have to say about that, Anna?
I absolutely agree, right? It's as you mentioned, it's so hard to predict right now. And
Yes.
so I think it's really having the tools in place to be able to manage and monitor and be flexible. So I think we all are kind of like learning as we go, but I think first of all, having these tools in place is super important, and for
Yes.
hotels to be able to make use of this and understand how to use it, I think, yeah, is very important.
Right. So with that, let's take another quick question. Because we are talking of recovery, okay, let's know from our viewers that where do we stand in terms of occupancy in pre-COVID and post-COVID era. So we'd like to know from you that have you reached 25, 50 or 100% of your pre-COVID occupancy? And poll is live now. I'd like you all to put in your votes so that we can understand what is happening. And we also have got a couple of questions. Okay, we've got 2 questions from Mr. Siddharth. We'll take those questions. Anybody also has any more questions, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Okay, I think there's one question which Anna, while poll is running, you could answer. That when Japanese travelers start traveling, any particular Japanese area to look into?
You mean overseas from Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some like different reports, and I think, of course, the top destinations remain probably the same, where it's also the close, close from Japan, Asia. I think Asia, of course, and Hawaii, Guam. But I think there's also quite demand for US, some of the long haul destinations like Europe. Personally, I have friends who are already traveling to Europe. So I think, like, I mean, pre-COVID as well, right? So Japanese people, we've seen, I mean, there's quite some outbound travel to global destinations. So, but maybe first it's more of the short haul, destinations. And yeah, that's what I would predict. Yeah.
Okay, and all our viewers, like 50% of all the people who have voted for the poll are saying that they are seeing demand coming back to 50% of what it used to be in pre-COVID era. 14% are saying that they are crossed or they have received between 50 to 100%. So I think that's a good sign of recovery. And there are 25% people, sorry, 36% people are saying that they are still between 0 to 25. But I think with vaccinations going up globally and uh, travel restrictions easing up, it is definitely going to make an impact on the way they travel.
Yes, I
Okay,
agree.
there's
I think
another question that I think you could answer.
okay.
It is saying that what pricing strategy and taking advantage. Okay, what is the pricing strategy around taking advantage of revenge tourism? And do we move back to pre-COVID prices, or we keep it low? So
That's a good question.
what would be your perspective on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think across different markets, we do see increase of pricing. So I think that's kind of like what's happening right now. But I think it just goes back to the point of, you know, everything is so uncertain. So we have to kind of try and see what the demand is. And I think it might be different maybe from each market, right? So I think we just have to kind of be able to monitor very like closely and very frequent. So it's a bit hard to answer. But yeah, I mean, I think as a general trend, we are seeing increase in pricing, and we are seeing bookings coming in with these prices.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if I have to take this, of what I feel is that even the end user, you know, the guest knows that you have to spend significant amount of money to sort of, you know, sanitize the whole place. You have to be with all these things. Obviously prices are going up, but if you want to take advantage, then like I mentioned, that start looking into the long weekends that are coming. Because of the restrictions, people are making bookings little in advance. They're not waiting for the last minutes to make the bookings. The booking window has shrunk a bit. Earlier we used to have, I think, 4 weeks, 5 weeks window also. Now it has come down. So let you know that time that you have 15 days to 0 day. Okay, don't wait to drop your price until last moment. Start, like I mentioned, being very dynamic about your price. If you know that your bookings are not coming between D7 to D0, do not wait for D7 to approach, you know, to reduce or increase your price. Start doing that between the D15 to D7, where the bookings are flowing in. If you see a trend, you have to always look for trends, that which days of the week you are getting maximum bookings. You start playing around for your price on that day. And if you have, you know, demand on day 0, then you have to see hour of the day. Like if you're getting booking between 9 to 12 in the morning, are you getting bookings between 3 to 5 in the evening? You have to be uh, yeah, it sounds like micromanagement, and you will have to do it, or you can let Mint handle these things. But you have to look into the trends to get the maximum benefit out of the price. Okay, and have a price which is sellable. Increasing it to a level nobody is going to buy does not make sense, and dropping it to a point where you don't make a profit also does not make sense. So it is all about creating that balance. And for balance, you can always reach out to us, because when we were designing Mint, like I said, we did not want to have that traditional approach of only occupancy because of so many other factors. So you can have a look at all those factors when you are pricing yourselves. And if you raise price, when should we do it? As soon as borders open up, or wait for international travel to stabilize? I think for now, because domestic tourism is going to be on peak, you play a lot with those pricing. Because as Anna mentioned, international is very uncertain right now. Whichever places are opened up, if you are getting in your country demand from those places, you can probably do that at OTA level. But at channel level, I would still have you have very dynamic price. Don't rise them so significantly high that you don't get bookings. Keep it at an optimum level. And now if you want to know what is optimum level, then you can reach out to me on my email. uh, we will do analysis and we'll tell you which is the optimum price to have, because it is not one fits all. You will have to have different price for different dates, different months to get bookings. I think that is what I will have to say on this point. If there are any more question, I think I can take one last question. If not, then we can wind up over here. Okay. So I think we have cleared all the doubts. Anna, if you have any closing comments, do let me know.
I feel like I said it all, but yeah, I mean, I think at times like this, it's really being prepared and to capture demand any way possible. Having mix of distribution channels, I think, is one thing that can help maximize the revenues, the revenue opportunities. So if I'm sure each hotelier has different distribution strategies, but yeah, I think right now is the time to just gear up and capture that revenge tourism demand. And I hope all the hoteliers will have a successful event in that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. So with this, we wind up. We have been okay. So from Cheese, thank you so much. Good sharing, Anna. Okay, thank you so much for your kind words. And if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me. You can always reach out to Anna. We are always here to answer your questions, and we want to ensure that you are listed on maximum platforms. You are listed on Rakuten, so that you can get advantage of Rakuten's B2B also. And definitely we will be helping you with dynamic pricing, because with Mint we are doing specifically dynamic pricing so that you can be very agile, you can get advantage of all the bookings. I think with that we will wind up today's session. Thank you everybody who joined in, and you can, like I mentioned, always reach out to us. You all have a lovely day ahead. Bye bye. Bye, Anna.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.